Well, now on this video, I'm going to show you step by step on how to buy shares with less than 500 Kenyan shillings. And guess what? That's like $3 because you can do it. You know, that mentality that you've been having out there, oh, buying shares is for the ultra rich, is for the ultra wealthy or something of so. You're misguided. You can, by the way, guess what? You can even buy shares with less than 200. Can you imagine that? Less than two. That is like $1 and something. Imagine, can you imagine that? And you can be able to invest. So this year of 2024, don't excuse yourself. And by the way, if you ask me, based on what I've been observing out there, buying shares in Kenya especially, it's one of the best decisions that you can be able to do it. But again, I stand corrected. But anyway, this is it. If you've been looking forward into getting this information, you can always stick this and watch this video to the end so that you grasp the maximum information. And I'm sharing this information with you for free. The only thing that I would love to get from you as a return of saying thank you is to, you know what, there is a small button just below the likes. There is a small button written subscribe. Hit that like button and also make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. Let's get into the business, okay? Now, shares. What are shares, first of all? You know, there are some people who don't even know what are shares. Shares is actually equity. Shares is equity. Equity, what does it mean? I know if you're watching from Kenya, you think I'm talking about a bank. No, I'm not talking about a bank. Share is actually what? Owning, you know, it's owning. Is owning a fraction of that given company. Is owning a fraction of that given company, all right? For example, say maybe you have an existing business and you come on board. And let's say my business is maybe worth like 1 million Kenyan shilling. And then you come with your 200,000 and you tell me, hey, Joseph, I would like to give you this money and you go do the business with it. And again, once you get the profit, be sharing with me. That's what it means by shares or stocks. Other people call it stocks, okay? It depends on which name you're comfortable. So when I talk about shares, when I talk about stocks, I mean the same thing, okay? Now, the question is this. Now, how do I buy shares? And for those guys who are watching from Kenya, please don't confuse these shares with the one that you buy from a Sacco. The Sacco shares and this one, these are two different things, all right? So now, shares is actually owning that company. For example, if today you go buy, let's say, an X company shares, then you become one of the owners of that given company out there, right? Did you get my point? Now, the point is this. What happens is that what you need to do is to, first of all, these shares or stocks in Kenya, it's actually operated and regulated by a body called NSE. In full, it's called Nairobi Securities Exchange, okay? Nairobi Securities Exchange, okay? This is like a market where all the companies that are willing to exchange some of their shares or some of their fraction with return of them being given some money. All right, it's like you showing up in a market where you come with your tomatoes and you want to give out your tomatoes and then they give you money. So companies, all different companies that would like to be getting money from the public so that they can be able to run their operations, they come to this NSE, that is Nairobi Securities Exchange. And each country, they have their own. If you're watching this from South Africa, they have their Johannesburg Exchange, something of sort. If you watch from Nigeria, if you watch from Egypt, if you're watching from the USA, it's the biggest one called the New York Stock Exchange. Any country in every country, they have theirs. So you can actually go ahead and apply this method. Now, what happens is now after having that understanding, now what happens is that any and every company that is actually selling shares is called a PLC. Why? Public listed company. Are we together? So it's called a public listed company. All right. Now, and in Kenya, we have 63. We have 63 companies. We have 63 PLC companies. Okay. Now, what happens is that now, if you would like to buy shares less than 500 Kenyan shillings, first of all, you must have a certain account, not even 500, whichever the number of shares that you want to buy and whichever the company, you must have an account called, you must have an account in Kenya called, this company is called, you must have an account called CDS. You must have an account called CDS, meaning Central Depository System, Central Depository systems and something of sort, okay? Now, the point is this. Now, having this, for you to be able to buy shares, you must have this, specific account. And this account is usually opened, this pen of mine is actually disturbing me. Let me use the blue one. So for you to open this account, you must have a what? You must have a stockbroker. You must have a stockbroker. And by the way, I know whenever I say or talk about stock, or whenever I say the word broker from Kenyans or with Kenyans does not augur well with them, this is not actually an individual. These are big companies that are out there that they offer these services. They're actually big companies. You'll be shocked if I tell you some of those companies. They are very big companies, you know them. So they offer this, what we call the stockage broker, stock broker. Okay. Now what happens is that they are the one mandated by the regulations or by the law to open you a CDS account. So you pick a stockbroker of your choice, and then they open you a CDS account. Now, after opening a CDS account, now you proceed with doing what? Buying shares. You can do this from the by calling your agent from your stockbroker to buy for you, or you can actually do these things online. Personally, I do it online. All right. And by the way, I've actually bought and I have several shares of this that I have actually bought. Now, what you do is that now after acquiring this central depository system account, what happens now? You go ahead and proceed with buying. So now we go back to the 500 Kenyan shillings that we want to buy shares from. Okay. So one thing that you're supposed to understand, remember I said we have 63 companies that are listed under the Nairobi Securities Exchange. These companies, they have something called share per price. Different companies, they have different price per share. For example, if you go to a share price for a company like a BAT, I think it's one of the most expensive shares in Kenya. For example, right now as you speak, as of making this video on 6th of February, it's around 425 Kenyan shillings for one share. If you want to buy one share of this company, British American Tobacco, I think it's one that makes cigarettes or something, yeah? You need to have 425 Kenyan shillings for you to buy one share. For example, if you want to buy one share of KPLC, this is Kenya Power and Lighting Company. The company is the biggest company in Kenya that does everything to do with lighting, electricity, and what have you. The supply, that is, not the generation, the supply. Now, this company, for one share, it's actually below 2 shillings. It's around 1.21, around there. You can actually confirm it. These figures keep on changing, okay? So what does it mean? So if you'd like to buy shares of this company, let's say we have person A. We have person A, and then we have person B. So the person A want to buy shares for this company, and person B want to buy shares for this company. It differs. What happens is that this person who want to buy shares for this company will actually use more money. Why? Because there is one regulation by the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Remember, this is the market where all these companies, and one rule says that anyone who is willing to buy shares of any given company must buy at least 100 shares. 100 shares. So you can imagine, if the minimum of BAT shares, it means that you have to part ways with the 425 Kenyan shillings multiplied by 100. So it means you need to have like 42,000, if I'm not wrong. Is it 42,500? And by the way, you have not yet paid the broker. So the broker takes 2% of this. 2% of this amount of money. How much is it? It's around like 900, or it's around 900. Let's say 900. So it will be 900 plus this amount of money gives you like 43,400. 43,400, around that amount of money. So that's the amount of money that you need. Now let's go to the person B. The person B now happens that you would like to buy shares for the KPLC, and one share goes for 1.21. So it will be 1.21 times 100 for you to actually buy a minimum number of shares. So if you want to buy 100 shares of BAT, you need 43,400. Okay? And if you need to buy 100 shares of KPLC, you need to have 1.21 times 100. It's like 121 Kenyan shillings. Can you imagine that? This dude is using over 43,000 to buy a minimum number of shares of BAT, and this guy is using 121 shillings to buy the shares. Now, this is not what we are talking about now here. But if you have the financial muscles, come on, you can be able to buy these shares. There's no problem. Now, if you can actually buy these KPLC shares, you see, you only need like 121 shillings plus, let's say, the broker's fee. This will be like 24 shillings. So plus 24 here, plus 24, that makes it like 145 Kenyan shillings. That's what you need. That is way below 500. And guess what? We have close or even more than 10 companies that you can actually buy with less than 500. For example, we have like companies like Kenyari. We have examples of companies like Everready. We have some companies like variety of them that you can actually buy, actually close to 10 of them. If you would like to know how you can be able to know all the companies that you can buy with less than 500, consider the share per price per share, and also multiply that number by 100, because it's the minimum number of amount of money that you amount of shares that you ought to buy. And then from there you can be able to determine whether this amount of money can actually do so. Now, you see, different companies consider, or different companies, they have different amount of money that you need to buy shares. Now, what did I say? We have 10, let's just call them 10 companies. We have 10 companies in listed under the KPLC, or rather listed under the Nairobi Securities Exchange, that you can buy with less than 500 Kenyan shillings. Others you can even buy with 1,500, 2,000. I remember that was time I made a video talking about how you can buy shares with even less than $3,000. I mean 3,000 Kenyan shillings. That's like that. Let's just call it 30. I know it's more than that. It's less than that, but let's just call it like $30. You can buy, by the way, with less than $30, or let's say 5,000 Kenyan shillings, you can actually buy close to over half. Remember this, if you can just have 5,000 Kenyan shillings, you can buy over half of these companies that are listed in this in this Nairobi Securities Exchange. All right. Now, the point is this, guys, do not say that shares are complicated. Do not say that shares you need a lot of money for you to invest. And this is why I always tell you guys, okay, fine, maybe there's some of the information that I've left there. If you'd like to get a VIP, maybe treatment or information whereby me and you having a conversation through a call, I take you step by step. How do you get these brokers? Who are these brokers? Who are the best ones? How do you open the CADS account? How do you buy online? Where do you go? All that information. You can always pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video. Give me a call and you can be able to get all my services out there. And for my services, it's just a cup of coffee's price, okay? Meaning like it's quite affordable. Never fear, all right? Now, point is this, you can as well grab my booklet about shares. It has everything to do with shares. How do you get the brokers? Who are the brokers and such kind of a thing? And I have soft copies. So if you're watching this from outside the country, so you can as well grab that copy and you can read it. It's a soft copy. You can send it to your email or maybe to your WhatsApp. The point is this, these shares actually you earn in two ways, eh? Before I finish up on this, these shares you actually earn in two ways. Number one, you actually go ahead and earn on something called dividends. You see, dividends. You see, dividends is the money paid after you owning a certain company. You own the company because you've actually gave them your money to do the business. So you earn from them by virtue of you owning that given company. So they give you dividends. Let's say the company goes out there and makes a profit, let's say, and a certain amount of money. Let me just use some simple numbers. Let's say maybe in a whole year, the company made a profit of 50,000 Kenyan shillings. Maybe that's the profit that the company made. So what happens? They decide how much. Okay, they decide how much they're gonna go ahead and dictate and actually, put it out there in terms of, they decide how much they're gonna share in terms of interest. They share with the shareholders. So maybe they can decide to share half of this, divide by two. So they decide like 25,000 will go back towards doing what? Sharing sharing that amount of money with who? With the shareholders. So what happens is that you take this amount of money and then they divide by the total number of total number of floated shares, all the shares that they have there. Then they come up with a magic figure, which one we usually call it like an EPS, earning per share, and then multiply this earning per share by the number of shares that you have. Anyway, there is a lot of sort of mathematics and whatever. So if you'd like to get all this information before getting into investment, that's why I'm told you guys, pick that number of pine from the description of my this video, and then I can offer those services step by step, and you get all the information for you to be able to go ahead and invest. But for now, make sure that you do this. Do not fear investing on the basis of, hey, it costs, it's expensive, oh yeah, I don't know what. Don't do that. Anyway, guys, guess what? For now, it's a goodbye, but don't forget, make sure that you like this video and also subscribe, and make sure that you comment down below. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one.